Hey, welcome everybody to the Be My Own Boss podcast. My guest and co-host is Mike. Not my guest. My co-host is Mike Hruby, who's in Massachusetts, and I'm still in Colorado. I'm here with. This is by the way. This is check out how clean it is. This is the best green screen in the world. It's called Nature. So
fabulous. And
But yeah, anyway, guys, I'm just doing it outside because I'm here. I'm on a pit stop doing a curry run and visiting some friends, and I thought, why not, take advantage of the moment. But we are in the middle of a 6-part series, and we are on part 5, meaning what's next week, the conclusion. But this week we are at ABC. It's not as easy as 1, 2, 3. And Mike, from there, do you want to get us started with this?
Sure. Be sure to jump in. Last thing we want is a monologue on a duopoly. Anyway, you're at 7,500 feet and I'm at 500. So you probably have an even better view of all of this. So
yeah, for those of you curious, yes, the sun's overhead, but Mike actually has been to Durango. He knows what I'm talking about. Like, it's literally just over my head.
It is really, really like a powerful beam. It's just absolutely fabulous.
I don't know how to explain it. Maybe you could even do it in a way, because when I tell people things like this, they're like, well, you're only at 7,500 feet. I mean, yes, it's a lot, but in the distance to the sun, like, it matters. It really does.
Well, you have almost no serious air above you. So it's like incoming solar, bang, right on your forehead. And, it's fantastic up there.
I mean, it feels like, I'll put it this way: when I'm doing 14ers and stuff here in Colorado, when I get up to the top of those, I feel like I'm halfway to the sun.
And you really are, as far as insolation, the incoming solar. It's fabulous. Anybody who wants to go and try it, it's the best place. Wonderful. All right, let's get to business.
So yeah, maybe one day you will see Mike and I here together in Durango doing a live podcast. That would be awesome. Maybe we'll do it on the train. But for this week, let's get in. There's people here to see or to hear now part 5.
Yep.
Should I read off? Let me just real quickly read off the parts we've done so far, just to kind of get everybody refreshed here a little bit. So part 1 was crushing independent work, the Attorney General's settlement. Part 2, and this is all the Boston Massacre 2024 was what we called this. Part 2 was the murder weapon, how ABC labor law works. Part 3, tricks of the trade, how ABC labor law became a trap. Part 4, career theft ahead. That was last week. Damage from all directions. And now we're on part 5. And I'll even say this because Mike and I we were sitting there going, what do we call it? Because we didn't want to sound negative, because there's always a fight. But it was originally the unfixable law, choose to be your own boss. But Mike retitled it, and then I played with a ABC thing he was using, and I jokingly said ABC. It's not as easy as 1, 2, 3. And the reason I just said all that was because none of this is easy.
No, but it's got a happy ending.
But it's not. I mean, but you and I dig into this every day, and it's still not easy to understand. To the people who poke in here and there, like, kudos to you for paying attention and listening and joining us.
Yes.
Because I know a lot of you have questions. I've known a lot of you for years who were like, what is ABC? And I'm like, you live in California, you get Prop 22. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, that's what AB5 is. So literally a lot of people have learned. And so kudos to you for paying attention, because it's hard. It's hard to understand.
It pays dividends. This is like a lot of things in school. The longer you study it, the easier it becomes. So I will tell you, there are good times ahead, both for understanding it and for changing it. Mm-hmm. So let me just set the table, Steve, and we can go together. There are, as we've talked about, 73 million independent contractor incomes that are threatened by the coming changes in labor law. And in Massachusetts, they've come through the ABC test in a law that's 20 years old. In California, it's a law that's 5 years old, and that was signed into law just about 5 years ago in 2019. And I'm sure Steve is around. He's up at high altitude, and maybe this.
I'm here. I'm frozen. So you keep talking. I'm going to remove myself and come back in.
Okay, it's definitely not freezing here in Massachusetts. So anyway, with these everybody's incomes being threatened, and now there's more action trying to come in the national stage with the PRO Act, and which is very anti-independent contractor. So my intuition tells me now is an excellent time to take the initiative. We've got a lot of people. They're smart, they're hardworking, and they would like to do something, but they don't know what. So one question that'll come up is maybe we can fix the ABC test. That's how, there's something like any problem in front of you. Maybe if we undo it, maybe, we could be victorious that way. So you recall in previous segments, or for those of you who are just tuning in, the ABC test starts with an assumption that everybody's an employee. We know for a fact that is horribly wrong. If it were 9 out of 10, you might live with it. But for pushing 5 out of 10, being very happily self-employed, independent contractors, freelancers, we know that's not the case. So you'd have a problem fixing that right off. Then we've talked about 9 very short phrases, 90 words total for 9 short phrases. And they are additive tests that an employer, your client, has to prove that he passes, which is, of course, impossible because you can't prove a negative. And then they've got treble damages, is how most of the states tee this up, which California does and Massachusetts does, and I suspect that the PRO Act will get around to.
I actually want to take a quick moment, if I can, Mike, to point out independent, because I just had a thought about this. Is a relatable moment for the gig workers watching on gig app platforms about independent contractorship, because we're independent contractors. By definition, when we came on the platform, we felt that a lot more. You picked and chose. Even if you had never done it, you understood it. But then now the companies, I think I was just thinking of it like the ABC test. Like when you put that in place and everybody has to make a certain amount, well, it's you're not going to be an independent contractor anymore.
Right. They're taking away your
how you guys felt at one point. And we always feel like, oh, there's less money, they should pay us. It really comes down to just rights being removed.
Bad news, bad medicine. Anyway, it's also built on this fantasy that people go to work for benefits, which is crazy. They certainly don't go to work for themselves for benefits. They'd be happy to get some cash. And anything that we would change in the law is going to have the bad guys working to take our wording and tweak it a little bit and make it twice as bad as we imagined our fix to be, and then say that represents all freelancers and double-crossing us. And then finally, the Congress said, when we approached them about having, doing something for independent contractors in the law, they said, fine, bring your impressive uproar. Amaze us. We can spend your political capital, but not ours. Those were our allies. So that leaves us with, like, how would you actually do it? So if you take that free of direction, we'd have to redefine that. Free of direction is 3 words. It would take hundreds of words, maybe thousands, in order to turn that around and actually slice the pie, from the actual self-employers to the, wannabe employees. So you have to do that 9 times, and it all has to make sense, and it has to work for everybody. So free of direction is almost impossible to take. The fact is, it's a 2-way relationship when you have a buyer and a seller. Those 2 are working together to get to an end. And you have to, as a seller, you have to know, it's as if you were driving people but didn't know where they went. so you have to have input from them. They're not your boss. They tell you, I want to move, I want to get a ride to 28 Elm Street, not sort of northeast of here. So finally, the more words you write, the less understanding you have, and that drives away support. Nobody wants to read a 300-page document, and nobody, not even the lawyers.
That's why they make them 300 pages.
That's why they make them. Nancy Pelosi makes them 5,000 pages long, gives them to you at 9, says we're voting at 11:30. Be there.
Right. So, and her 5,000 page document, usually there's more information in a Dr. Seuss book. So
yes, and Dr. Seuss rhymes, and you could remember it. Not this stuff. Anyway, fixing legislation like this is inherently time-consuming and difficult beyond belief. So it might be fixable, but not in our lifetimes, which is when it would be valuable. So I got to thinking, Steve, that when I had my own firm for 20 years and employed a lot of people, but we lived entirely on projects. There were no contractual long-term relationships. And I went to a conference, and there was a speaker, and he said the trick for running a service business is to create something of value and then own it. And I was absolutely flabbergasted, because I thought, consultants, you're supposed to take every thought you have and sell them, start fresh next time. He said, no, create something of value and own it. So I thought, maybe this is a tip for what we can do with all the other self-employers out there, is to create something of value that they could own and that we could actually create for them. Then, so there is an invisible, so anyway, period. So we're looking for a token. We're looking for something we can give them that would allow them to express their absolute conviction that sometimes they want to be an independent contractor. Maybe sometimes they want to moonlight. You can do both. You can do both with this token. So we're going to give them a token. Just instead of thinking of it as a law, think of it as, here's a silver dollar from 1881 that I keep on my desk. It's 2 years older than my grandfather, also last name Hruby. He's no longer with us, but he certainly knew a silver dollar when he saw one. And we need a token that each individual self-employer can have and use. It's his or her token. Nobody can take it away, and they can use it. They can give it or give their token to a client and say, this proves that the work I'm going to do for you is going to be self-employed work. And that gets you off the hook with all these nasty ABC tests. Leave them right there, but this will get us around it.
I don't know if you and I were talking about it off the camera or not last week. We were talking about how not all unions are bad, and that some, were sometimes people organizing because it needed to be, but handling it themselves too, not paying all these ridiculous fees, not knowing where they're going, all this stuff, like actually taking care of something. Is that part of that too? No. Because I guess what I'm saying is, like, we were going back in time, and I know we're talking about a different time, but how that was needed because a lot of people were doing shoddy work.
Yes, that's the union, not union dispute. Right. And there is a place for unions, but it doesn't have bearing on this. This is vendor oriented.
I was just wondering if it was also giving some kind of form of, like, I'm legit, or
yes, it legitimizes you in the eyes of the law. That's what the purpose of the token.
Right. So as far as, like, they feel clean about working with you.
Right. And
how you do, that's a different story.
Absolutely. And what you do and when you do it. All of that's
but if they hire you to do something, you do a bad job, that's a different story. But you're legal to do it.
Yes. The law allows you to fail. But anyway. So we can create a token, and we can imagine what it would be. And then each one of them, everybody who has a token can be their own boss, because they now have a token. It expresses their commitment to it, and they own their own time, They own their own schedule. They can, and they're spending. They don't have to spend it on benefits. If they don't want the benefits, they can just take the cash. Thank you very much. Collect from the client, and they can work as they want. And there is nothing like this in labor law, but we do it in other laws. We do it in other laws. So it's possible. So my wrap up on this is that fixing the ABC test is not feasible, but fixing labor law so that self-employers can be happy with it is absolutely realistic and possible, and people can get on board with it. So that's my 50 cent, my dollar version, silver dollar version.
So now the big question, how do you get people to listen right now? And I think the timing for this question is pretty good because I don't want to name names, but one politician out there happens to have decided she's not anything she thought she was, that she's the opposite of everything. And so now I've even heard talks about, I saw Kim Kevin. Okay, let me put it this way. I saw Kim Kevin posted a post today that said, oh, so, I mean, it almost, in a way, she made it sound positive, but it's weird. But she's like, now both sides are fighting for ICs because they need the votes.
We'll see when that happens.
But, okay, whether or not that I mean, because we can always argue a statement, right?
Yeah.
But my point is like, I mean, the other party has completely flipped. The one party has completely flipped everything. You don't know where they stand. And we know both parties do this. They count up the votes if they need them. I mean, is she really going to keep going up against this with the number, even if it's part-timers, the number of people who work independently growing every year? Is she really going to want another headache like that?
Do you mean is she going to go?
Because I guess what I'm saying is, I'm trying to be careful, guys, but you think we all know. I'm just going to say it. So we're talking about Kamala Harris. I'm not dissing on her or saying anything in this venue. I'm just saying whatever. But I don't think she's at a point she doesn't have to follow Biden's lead anymore about pro-union, pro-act, all that stuff. But I'm not promoting Kamala, people, please. I'm not dissing her. Take it how you will.
If you just think through where you want to try to work with steadfast people who aren't going to change on a dime based on something that's personally, I got a personal opportunity, so I'll let the personal opportunity get in the way of my commitment to my constituents and my fellow citizens. You want someone who's steadfast, and I think that
and you want somebody who has a history with it too, not just last week decided they're with Team Independent.
Yes, because this is just a flag of convenience, and they'll fly a different flag when it's convenient to fly that one. You want someone who is in with you as much as you are committed to supporting yourself, and that's a high bar. And there are a lot of people who aren't going to pass it. And I'm optimistic that quite a few self-employers will come across and realize I have to vote my career this time or I won't have it. So, but that's definitely not, there are people in both parties who will sell out their constituents when the time comes. I'm not definitely not saying all of them, but there are people in both parties. This is not
I was just going to say there's people in both parties, and you might be like somebody so high up they wouldn't do it to you, but you're always willing to sacrifice, I'm going to put it this way, a pawn.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Well, I mean, it shouldn't be that way, but they are. So
and we look like pawns to a lot of people. But anyway, the important thing for us to keep in mind, there are 73 million of us.
Right.
We got and we're completely different. And we just picked up another video for our series. I want to recommend everybody join. Our latest one was a man in Simi Valley, California. And we're going to post his, very short statement. He's 85 and he's in the gig economy because he wants to help. He wants to work, help his household, and while he cares for his wife, with his family.
And hi, Ellen. And I think she knows the person.
So it is a remarkable testimonial and makes you really think about, these people are just in it for the benefits. The benefits is keeping my bride alive. Like that's a benefit, something significant. So, oh my goodness, the rumor was true. So it turns out this, okay. And thank you, Ellen, and thanks to your dad. But truthfully, people, freelancers are everybody. They're kids, they're adults, they're middle-aged people, they're oldsters, and they're people who are 85. God bless them. So, Raised on Scrabble has said, maybe I'm slow on the uptake, but I'm having a hard time making the connection. The connection is that we need statements from independent contractors telling the public and Congress why they prefer independent contracting. And Raised on Scrabble says, you're thinking of licensing or certification systems.
No, he says, unless you're thinking of.
Good guess, Raised on Scrabble. We're actually thinking of getting a number. Just like when you open a trust or a new corporation or an LLC, you get a number. Right. And it's.
Yeah, we're responding to the token thing.
We're right. It is a token. That's all it is. It's a token, but it says that you have made this commitment. The same way people make a commitment in the armed forces, and they get a military ID, and they subject themselves to military law, and they do that in exchange for, accepting unusual responsibilities not found in the normal civilian, certainly, and so. It's that kind of thing. I hope that was helpful. But yes, not certification, not a permit. This is as on demand, issued on demand.
Yep.
So it's that kind of solution. But anyway, so just to close up at the top of the chat, there's a uploaded.vloggy. There's a link, and that's how Phil got his video to us, and we thank Phil.
You know what I'm going to do, Mike? I'm going to put I was thinking about this. I was going to tell you, but I'm just going to tell you here. I'm going to put the vloggy link into the Be My Own Boss. What is it? Bitly, or what we use? eTree. That has all of, and then I'm going to put the barcode up on this. Because that way, when you click it, you see all the things you can go to for Be My Own Boss, New Jobs America. You'd see Vloggy upload.
Great. That's a great idea, Steve.
And that way we don't have to keep dropping all these links all the time, and there's no confusion. That way you guys can pick your poison on what you want to do.
Thank you. That's a great idea.
But yes, guys, until that happens, there it is. So I'm going to say hi to everybody real quick. We're going to go down. Kevin Hawthorne in Florida. How you doing? You know Lynn. Do you know Lynn from Twitter, Mike?
Which Lynn?
You do. That's her handle on Twitter is drivers C2C.
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I do.
Oh yeah,
I'm happy to meet you, Lynn.
She's all involved in the talks about everything in the gig economy that we got going on. So, and she's on Twitter a lot most often. So, I think she's in North Carolina. Hi Ellen, how are you? What's up, Toby? Oh my God, the distance from the sun makes no difference. It's 100 million miles.
No. Don't take this. You have to.
Because you're above the atmosphere, or more.
Actually, he is definitely above. Steve is definitely above most of the atmosphere.
Right.
Definitely. You can do the weight and compare.
Hey, Derek, how are you? Derek's here, or Derek's in Denver. Ron, how you doing, buddy? He's in Massachusetts. Nick, how you doing, my man? Nick's in Austin, Texas. Only rhinos sell out. All Dems are sellouts to the system. Is something
we're definitely all entering a free speech area.
okay, the example of the token. Okay. Trump wants to get rid of taxation on tips. Yeah, I'm not, that might be a topic, not because of Trump, but that would be a topic I'd be interested on having with you on one, Mike.
Sure.
Because I understand tips from the server side, and I don't think that's a possible thing, no matter what anybody promises you.
What do you mean? You don't think Congress will
removing taxes on tips?
Eliminating it. Yeah, I think it's feasible. I think Trump's got an idea going here.
I mean, I think if you're going to remove federal taxes altogether, that's one thing. But like, if you're going to just try and take away service industry stuff, but that's another episode. I would love to have that talk to.
Let's schedule it.
Okay. Did you know the stock market crashed today?
Yes, I did. Is it not 4:00 yet?
I'm up in the mountains, so actually normally I would, but I did not know.
You didn't hear the crash in Durango. Okay. It was, last I checked, it was down 800 and change. So anyway.
Well, thanks for the shout out. Yeah. So Mike, go check out Lynn and whatever that handle was up top, because I don't even know her handle. I just know her as Lynn on Twitter.
Okay.
In this space where the apps are basically middlemen, I'm curious how a token or registration system would work, or if app-based gig workers need a reclassification. I understand her question there, and I've actually talked with Scrabble on several occasions about why did we never give them a hybrid classification for app-based workers.
Raised on Scrabble, what we're doing here is we're picking up the edge of the Fair Labor Standards Act and revealing that the left and the unions have for 86 years not allowed an individual to classify themselves under any circumstance, nowhere. And so we're saying that is about to change, because we have an enormous number of votes and an enormous number of our population works that way, our workforce. And given that we are very likely coming into a recession, I expect 20 million more people will try independent contracting on top of the 73. So we're going to have well over half the workforce. And I don't think you can kick half the workforce out and expect society and the economy to continue. It's a practical matter.
Let me ask you this then, because I can see from Scrabble as a full-time, her name's April, she has a full-time job, a good job, W-2, and then she does gig work on the side as well.
Right.
So I think she's asking from the gig work perspective, and I think her point might be she doesn't want regulations and everything either, but she's one of those people like that. It's just like, it's that confusion zone, because it's like, what stops these companies? Do these companies need a token that we're of good faith and we practice ethics?
For her, April, the way to think about this is when you sign up for your W-2 job, you get a Social Security number, or you present it. And that is your token for being an employee. You can't be an employee without it. You got it just by breathing, or you signed up for it. She's not a W-2. I'm a logistics.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. I just meant like you were out. You're like me. No. And I don't want to say real independent contractor, but that's how she's thinking of it. And I mean in the traditional sense.
A real independent. And now you sound like the Secretary of Labor.
No. But how I've always said traditional is what I mean.
Right.
And I am too. But like before the apps existed.
Right.
And I happen to know what she does. I just know I think she's asked me not to say. So I'm not going to say because of some of her clients.
Fine. People can maintain their anonymity here. April, let's say you were working a W-2 job in your occupation and you still wanted to do work on the side, but definitely not as an employee, not as an employee, just to work as a contractor. You would then have two tokens. One is your Social Security number. That's one token. And that indicates work that you want to be W-2 on, you and everybody else. And you all have a unique number that we have no problem in this country servicing that need. Now you've got, under this new plan that we think we can push forward, you would have another number also, but this is your token for working self-employed, and you would give it to the platform, and that would be the number that you work with them on, and those numbers are exempt from treatment because as an employee, because they are self-employers. And you can now contract as a self-employer with an outfit like a platform. And so it becomes a pass-through. All they do is they pay you for your agreed amount, whether you're on the gig driving or doing consulting or medical analytics or medical services. You could be doing that as an independent contractor. So
you could be doing all of them as an independent contractor.
Yes, you could if the other guy will agree to it. It's all voluntary,
right?
And you don't
but I'm saying that's how it should be. If you have those skills, you should be able to use them however you want.
Yes, and that then leaves the ABC test applying only to people who are, want to be employees, and for some reason the employer is treating them not like an employee but like an independent contractor. That situation doesn't apply to where all the voluntary independent contractors are involved.
But I guess before kind of a Springer final thought for me, I was thinking of is that, they want to, I'm freezing. Oh shit.
We can still hear you. You're freezing. Okay. Well, let's see. Are you back, Steve? He is temporarily gone.
Never mind. We're going to close it out.
Okay.
It was like flickering here, and I'm in the shade now too. I don't know what was happening, but what I would have said, I'll just keep it for next time because I wrote it down right here. So okay, I see we're at 32 minutes. I don't want to hit a glitch and have this all be shot. It was a good piece. You guys had an amazing background. Again, best green screen ever. Nature.
Right.
Go outside, people.
Books. Take your choice. Durango is 7,500 feet, or Boston at 500. Anyway, thank you all. Get your friends to send in a video, just like they would send to their parents or their kids or their friends, and let's get this thing on the way.
Yeah. Maybe we should do a thing, Mike, where, I don't even know what the number was at. I know it's slow, but we should do a thing where when we hit 100 uploads, take those 100 people and do a giveaway.
I like that.
I mean, we're not going to buy you a car or nothing, people, but like Mike and I could go in on something for you. Like,
right.
This is our appreciation for taking the time.
Absolutely.
We'll do like a raffle on here and spin the wheel. They have one in StreamYard is why you can actually have all the people in the live.
Sounds terrific.
So, but maybe we could do something like that, or we'll come up with a good number because I'm not exactly sure what that number's at. I think it might be around 30 or 40, maybe. I don't know.
I think we're about there, yeah.
But we'll come up with a number. Maybe we could just, it's worth it to me. I would love to see that moving because when things grow, momentum happens. So everybody, thank you so much. Next week will be part 6 of 6. And then like we did for the first 3 parts, I'll do another piece on the Be My Own Boss channel that will premiere as parts 4 through 6. Because that long piece that I put up, parts 1 through 3, did very well. So I think some people have missed a part here or there. So then it'll just be, don't miss next week on the live. But as of next week, you'll be able to catch 2 videos that will play all 6 parts. But next week is called what, Mike? Because I have it down here, but I even forget what we went through. A few.
One was with a little help from our friends.
Yes,
which was a Beatles song,
and
still is.
So, simple steps to defend your freedom.
Right.
Yep. And that's it. And you guys come here and bring all your questions. Bring your questions from the prior episodes, even. Like if you saw episode 1, you're like, I never asked about that thing. Go back, find your questions from this whole series and bring them next week. And let's Even if you've been holding back on something like, well, they already talked about that. Next week, let's any questions out there, bring them
Great
out.
idea. More audience participation next week. We'll try to deal like Raised on Scrabble. That was a good conversation. Appreciate that opportunity.
And Steven said this before we go, just so you know.
That this is a problem, but it is not related to the fact of independent contracting. It's
different
people taking advantage of the imbalance that is normal with small companies working for big companies.
And
absolutely normal.
And that's where it's being politicized too, because that's where they're saying like, oh, see, you're just employees. No, it's just a different fight.
The client does not decide what our role is. Only we can accept the responsibility. Well, more coming, lots more coming. We're going to win this. This is the kind of turmoil where you get this kind of change that makes a big difference to a lot of people.
Okay, Scrabble, you have emailed me many times. You are very well spoken. I've been on lives with you before, so I'm not only going to offer this to you, I'm going to offer it to anybody been watching these. If you would feel better about it, please email me, steve@ridesharerodeo.com, your entire thing you want. We'll read the whole thing, Mike and I, next week and address it if it's easier that way. If you would rather sit down on an email and like really think it through and put all your questions down there, we'll go through them all.
Love to.
So everybody out there, if you have any questions, 1 question, 5 questions, put them down. I'll share them with Mike, and we'll through the week figure out how to cover them all. We're here for you guys.
We're here. We have only one loyalty. That's you all. All right, Steve, we got to go.
Yep. Everybody have a great day. We'll see you back here next week. And
thanks, everybody.
Stay safe, earn smart, guys.
Hang in there.